Alright, I hear a lot of you whispering, oh, it's an owl, it's an owl. You're right, it's an owl. This type of owl is called a great horned owl. You see where you get the name from? Are those really true horns up there? No. Are those his ears?
Yes.
A lot of animals have their ears sticking up. It looks like they could be his ears, but they're actually not. Those are strictly just feather tufts. Just a few extra feathers and he can make stand straight up, or he can make them go flat against his head and blend in with the rest of his feathers. His ears are actually located in a similar spot on his body as where our ears are located. A little bit behind and below his eyes. So you see that dark ring of feathers going around his face? You go straight in there, below those eyes. That's actually where his ears are located. Not owls, they're raptors, so they have the good eyesight. They've got the sharp talons, they've got that hooked curved beak. But there's something a little extra special about their eyesight. When can they see that other animals can't see as well? At night, you're right in the dark. Got a trivia question for you. If we were in a building and we made it pitch black, so turned off all the lights, sealed all the windows and doors, and let a mouse go, would he be able to see the mouse? He actually would not be able to see the mouse. Their eyes do work in a similar fashion to our eyes, that they do need a source of light. The difference is the amount of light. They need minimum light, just a very little bit in order to see. One thing that helps them see so well when it is dark out is the size of those eyes. Those eyes are huge compared to the size of their skull. For all the kids, if you were owls, because the size of your heads, your eyes would be at least the size of tennis balls. And your parents, or grandparents, or friends and family who brought you here today, if they were owls, because of the size of their heads, their eyes would be somewhere between the size of oranges and grapefruits. Pretty big, huh? Now, really big eyes helps you collect more light so you can see better when it's dark. But there are some disadvantages of having eyes that big. I want everybody to look at this owl. Put your head nice and straight. Now, without moving your head, so hold on to it if you have to. Without moving your head, can you still see the top of the tent? The ceiling of the tent? What about the ground? What about one end of the stage? What about the other end of the stage? How come? Even though you're holding your head perfectly still, how come you can see up, down, right, left, even in circles if you wanted to? What can you do? Yeah, you guys can move your eyes around. You're right. They can't move their eyes like we can. So wherever their head is positioned is the only direction that they can see. And that's why they turn their head so far around. Now, can they spin it around and around and around and around? No, but they can turn it 270 degrees, or 3/4 of the way around, which means from the front, they can go all the way around to their other shoulder, then back to the front, then the other direction all the way around until they're looking over their other shoulder. They also can turn their heads completely upside down, going sideways. So just like that, all the way till their beak would be facing the ceiling. So they can move it really far around. That's because they can't see all the way around. Or because they can't, move their eyes to see all the way around them. Now this owl, he also has a reason for living at the Raptor Center, but his reason is a little different than the first two. Physically, he's okay. His wings okay, his eyesight's okay. He's what we call a human imprint. Great horned owls, they don't build their own nests, so they take over other hawks' nests, crows' nests, other nests like that. Since they don't build their own nests, they don't reinforce it after the winter or after spring storms. And they're not always designed for a family of great horned owls, and sometimes they fall apart, which means the young end up on the ground. Well, guess what? Even if the young are on the ground, the parents will still take care of them, even if you can't see the parents, because these birds are designed for camouflage. but the parents will still take care of them. In this case, a person found them, and I'm sure the person wanted to help. And we love it when people want to help wildlife. Unfortunately, they didn't help it for the best way for this bird. They decided to try taking them home and raising them. And I'm glad, like I said, they wanted to help, but the best thing to do is to give like the Raptor Center or another similar organization or a DNR conservation officer a call. Because these birds, they need to see their parents, they need to see their same species in order to learn everything they need to learn. Since he saw people and he didn't see other owls, he didn't learn some of the stuff he had to learn in order to survive in the wild. And sometimes that can take as little as 24 to 48 hours for them to become a human imprint, because they're learning so much in such a short amount of time. So if you find one, if you're way out hiking, middle of the woods, the best thing to do is actually leave it there. If you're really worried it's injured, they give us a call. Or if you're in a place like your backyard or a park where it's not a safe place for them to stay on the ground, they give us a call. Don't feed them. They'll be okay for a while. They're actually not like a songbird that needs food every couple hours. They'll be okay until you can get a hold of somebody. They're usually even okay overnight. But give us a call right away and we'll help figure out what's going on, because we got lots of tools in our tool belt, lots of things we can do. We can rebuild the nest. We can find foster nests to put them in if really something did happen to their parents. Usually they're still there, but if they didn't, we can put foster nests. And if they are injured, then we have other raptors at the Raptor Center that we can keep them with their own species while they're healing, and then get them back in the wild once they can go back. So there's lots of things we can do to keep them learning from their own kind and going back to the wild where they belong. Now, great horned owls, they also are opportunists or generalists like the red-tailed hawk. But owls, if they can, they really prefer to swallow their prey whole. It's easier and safer, because if you swallow it whole, it's less chance of it being dropped, less chance of having to drop it to get away, less chance of some other animal trying to steal it away from you. So you want to get it inside you as quick as possible. And I thought you guys might like to see that today. So I brought with the whole mouse. It's not alive. We buy our food frozen. Kind of have to go to a special grocery store. But we get our food frozen. We thaw it out. Do we have to cook it? No, you're right. They don't hold campfires in the wild. So we don't cook it for them either. We just make sure it's thawed and then we give it to them. Now I did do this for this morning program. And he wasn't interested. Very rarely says no, but that's okay. So hopefully now he'll be a little bit hungry, a little bit more interested. I will give you a heads up. I'll actually count to 3. It might be a quick count, but I will count to 3 before I give it to him, so you don't have to watch if you don't want. But if he does take it, it's usually pretty quick and it's really cool. So give me a second here to put the mic down.
Now, every time we work with these birds, it is a training opportunity. And so in order for him to get the mouse, I do want to wait to make sure that he is in, I guess you want to say, more the proper position. If he's leaning forward, looking at the food, looking for it to come, and I gave it to him at that point in time, he'd sit that way the whole program. So I'm going to wait and make sure that he's kind of looking around, sitting comfortable before I offer it to him. All right, ready? Oh. I know what's going on. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Look at that time.
Now when he grabbed it, he was able to move it without using his feet. They can move it with just their beaks. They're pretty talented. What end of the mouse did he move it to?
The
The head, you're right. When he got it to the head, he kind of looked up and he did 2 things kind of at once. One is, if you're as close to him as I am, you would have heard a crunch. They'll crush that skull just to make it go down a little bit easier. The other thing is he's taking one real quick glance around. Because usually when they do swallow, they'll close their eyes, even if it's for a brief moment. So they just want to make sure that they're still in a safe environment and none of you are rushing him to grab the mouse from.